my name is Roxana, as you've already heard, and I'm here to present the second project on diversity and decolonization in the Department of Methodology. I'm going to begin with a brief introduction of both the context and the research design, and then quickly move on to my results and my recommendations before ending in a brief conclusion. So we're going to start here. This is Karl Pearson. Karl Pearson was a mathematician and is commonly known as one of the founding fathers of modern statistics. He is known for things such as Pearson's chi-square test, with most everyone who's ever taken even a single statistics class will probably be familiar with. I myself was taught about chi-square tests at LSE. What I wasn't taught was that Karl Pearson was also a eugenicist. He was a proponent of social Darwinism. He vehemently opposed immigration, and he deemed refugees and immigrants a parasitic race. University curriculums have long drawn the ire by both students and staff, drawing complaints that they center white, Eurocentric writings and theory while marginalizing others. This task is particularly salient in the methodology department because it is here where it's decided what counts as good or bad research, who is the researcher and who is researched, basically what we accept as knowledge. For this project, I conducted a publication review of reading lists in the methodology department of over 850 units of analysis, spanning over 9 courses from within the department. In addition to this, I sent out a survey to a small subset of the authors present in the curriculum, asking them to self-identify with regards to their racial and gender identity, as well as asking about their native language and nationality. So this brings me to my first statistics. This is just the gender split amongst the authors present in the curriculum. We see that female authors make up around 1/3 of the writings in the curriculum. Male authors make up 2/3. But if we look at this in a little more granulated way, we see that it is white authors in particular, white male authors, who make up over half of the curriculum, while scholars of color only amount to 8% of the entire curriculum. My research found that female course conveners were generally more likely to have a more diverse and decolonized curriculum, as were courses on qualitative methodology over quantitative methodology. There is also evidence that lecturers who had obtained their PhD in the last 10 years seem to be more aware of the issues and consequently adapt their curriculum as such. There's a clear dominance of US and UK literature in the curriculum, closely followed by other Anglo-Saxon countries. All of these made up 77% of the entire curriculum. And this brings me to what I believe to be the most salient statistic from my research, which is this little red sliver that you see in the middle. Those are the texts by authors affiliated with institutions in the Global South. That's 8 out of 850, less than 1% of the entire curriculum. And over half of these were actually white scholars. The survey basically supported the findings from my publication review with regards to the countries that were very heavily represented, as well as the ethnicity. But if we look at the native language, it draws a more intricate picture, a more complex picture, because suddenly identities emerge which couldn't have been encompassed by either just nationality or ethnicity. We have, for instance, people speaking Tamil, a language from southern India, as their native language, as well as Penobscot, which is a First Nation language. I think we can all agree that these results are pretty damning and in urgent need of change. My suggestion for this is threefold. 1, redesign the curriculum. 2, create a course detailing the history and ethics of methodology. And 3, center the student voice. Curriculum redesign is urgently needed. Courses need to be diversified and decolonized. But, and this is crucial, I'm not advocating for texts by scholars of color to be added to the end of an already existing reading list. I'm also not arguing for the abandonment of any and all work or that Karl Pearson created or the chi-square test. What I am instead asking for is a continuing conversation, contemplation, and contextualization of the material that is being used to teach students. Of course, conveners do have to look beyond the US and UK, though. There is no way around that. There needs to be more scholars from the Global South represented in the curriculum. My next recommendation, in line with what the two previous researchers have mentioned, is the implementation of a course detailing the frankly quite dirty history of methodology, its impact on research today, and the ethics of researching. Doing so will also generate and help educate better budding student researchers, enabling them to conduct research that is ethically sound, that is historically informed, and aware of any biases or ethical pitfalls that may be possible. At this point, it is crucial to mention that decolonization and diversification is a continuing process. To honor this, LSE needs to implement feedback mechanisms to gather input from students affected by the curriculum, by expanding the termly teaching surveys to include questions of whether students feel represented in the curriculum and how minorities in particular experience the teaching. My research has shown that the current curriculum of the methodology department does little to question extant knowledge paradigms. Eurocentric, white, and often male theory is centered, with Anglo-Saxon theory taking center stage. Out of over 850 units of analysis, only 8 were affiliated with institutions in the Global South. That is less than 1%. The LSE prides itself on its international student and staff body, with 70% of all students and 40% of staff coming from over 140 countries all around the world. This degree of diversity needs to be reflected in the curriculum used to teach students. Thank you so much for listening.